Good morning. Okay, we are open and live. Let me make sure our connection is smooth today. Fingers crossed. Excuse me. Yesterday we had a couple up and down moments, but that's to be expected sometimes, so that's totally normal. Fingers crossed we can go today without any hiccups. Let's have a quick water break before we get into it. I've got my fur babies on call in case we need them at all. They're just checking us out, letting me know that they're here if we need them. First, I'm going to start us off with an update. All right, let's go to see what is new on the market today. So Bitcoin is currently trading at around $64,000. It's down. In the past week it's been down, but it is climbing back up. Yesterday it was closer to the bottom of 63,000, and now we are closer to the top of 63,000, which is amazing. So I do believe it is going to slowly start coming up, whereas Ethereum is trading below $1,900. So overall, crypto sentiments kind of remain cautious, even though I'm optimistic that Bitcoin is going to climb its way back up there. One positive factor is continued institutional demand, with strong recent inflows into Bitcoin and Ethereum's ETFs. Well, meanwhile, US stocks remain relatively strong, with the S&P 500 recently reaching another record high, so that's doing well. This week, traders will be watching the Federal Reserve meeting minutes for clues about future interest rate policies. For crypto, the key question is whether Bitcoin can hold the $63,000 area and regain upward momentum. I am very optimistic about Bitcoin right now because I've been watching it quite steadily for the last 2 months. And my fur baby is just like on his back, like, eh. Let me see if I can get a quick little snap a photo of him without moving too much. All right, let's see if you guys can get this absolute cuteness in the shot. Look at him. He's just chilling. He's the sweetest little thing. He's like, eh. Not a worry in the world. Just chilling. That's like one of my favorite things. Oh my gosh, he's so beautiful and gorgeous. Remember, this is a cat that we adopted around a month ago. He is 7. His sister is 8. Even though I like to say his sister is his little sister because she's so much tinier than him. Interestingly enough, before we get back into crypto, he's the one who normally wakes me up in the morning. Like, I have like a little gate so they don't come in the bedroom while we're sleeping, just so we can have a better night's sleep. But then in the morning, I open the gate and they can come in and say good morning to us. And normally he wakes me up at around like anywhere between 5 and 6. And I heard a cat meowing this morning, and I assumed it was him. And I got up and it was his little sister. She was just craving attention this morning. Yeah, it's been lovely having cats. It honestly makes my day so much better, having these little fur babies just hanging around me. But yeah, sorry, that was my quick little morning update on my babies. So pretty much today I wanted to go over future trading and so if that's futures and copy trading. But if there is anyone in the house who is not 100% familiar of what cryptocurrency is, let me just do a little recap of what it is in simple terms. Cryptocurrency is digital money that exists online. It isn't controlled by a bank or government. Instead, it runs on blockchain technology, which securely records transactions in a transparent way. So some common examples are Bitcoin, Ethereum, USDT. Bitcoin is often seen as like the digital gold. Ethereum powers applications, and USDT is a stable coin that stays close to the $1. So that makes it really easy when we are doing trades. We often think about it as USDT instead of USD. And then on SuperEx, there's like 3 main things that you can do. First one is deposit crypto into your account. Honestly, that is a really straightforward process. Second is buy and sell crypto using spot trading. We went over that one yesterday. Third is trade price movements using futures where you can use leverage. So we touched upon that yesterday. And I will go over that one again today, as well as touching upon copy trading, because I think they go hand in hand and it's really nice to kind of see what they get up to. But yeah, if you guys are interested in anything to do with SuperEx, let me send through the link down below, even though you can see it at the top of your screen. Registering for SuperEx honestly was one of the most stress-free experiences ever for me, because I didn't really have to think. It took me like 2 minutes to register. All it really asked me was email or phone number, created a strong password to verify my account through the code sent to me, and then I set up my 2-factor authentication just to add an extra layer of security. And when you guys do set up an account, please just remember you don't share that with anyone else. And then depositing funds, of course, like depositing is the easiest one. So the withdrawal of funds, just as easy. Just make sure you read all the prompts. What I have found of SuperEx, which I've really enjoyed, is that SuperEx is incredibly informative every step of the way. They want me to know what is going on and not get confused. So an example is when I'm doing my spot trading, there's always these big red signs of being like, okay, this is what this means. This is what this means. Be careful. And the same thing kind of happens when I deposit and withdraw my funds, is they're making sure that I copy exactly what I need to do for the address. So I've had only positive experience so far with withdrawing my funds. But that is also because I've gone into it with an open mind and read the instructions as clearly as possible. I have, before I started SuperEx, I went on to like Reddit and some reviews online, and there were some people who had some choice things to say, but the more I read into it, they were the ones who didn't read the print that was on the screen that said you need to copy this exactly and put it there. If you do everything that SuperEx tells you to do, you will not be unhappy. Okay, that's just, I'm putting that out there. But of course, try it for yourself if you want to before you're sure. I found it a very easy experience, but I'm also quite a meticulous human being, and I make sure I know exactly what I'm doing before I start it. So that was a positive experience for me. So yesterday, as I said, we touched upon spot trading. This is what the spot trading page looks like. I'm not actually going to go into spot today. I will just go into futures, and then we'll do copy trading, which will be exciting because copy trading is essentially, I don't want to call it the lazy man's route, but it's like you're piggybacking on someone else's good juju or bad juju, depends on which way you go about it. But I think it's a really exciting thing to learn about. I have not yet dabbled in copy trading, so I'm always just interested more and more about it as I'm talking about it, because I want to get into it. I just haven't found that right person yet. So let me just show you the difference between spot and futures page. It's honestly very, very similar, but we're not going to go too much into our spot today. We're just going to go straight into our future page. And if you have any interest in our spot tutorials, I have done a couple of them on our page during my live streams, or you can ask in the comments down below, and if you need something specifically, I can go straight back to spot before we go into futures. Okay, all right, so this is our futures screen. As I said before, it looks quite similar to our spot with a few new pieces. So there's 4 areas I would like us to quickly scan over. The first one is the pair sector up here. We're currently trading Bitcoin USDT perpetual. You can switch between ETH, SOL, anything by clicking there. Once you click there, you can scroll down and choose your one of the favorite trading pairs, or you can actually just search it in this bar here. And then we have the top center. This row is our future specific data. So mark price is what the platform uses to calculate your unrealized P&L and liquidation. Index price is the multi-exchange weighted spot price. funding and countdown. Every 8-hour long pays short or vice versa, depending on the funding rate. So you'll see the timer countdown, 24-hour change, high, low, turnover. It's pretty standard right there. And then on the far right, the trading panel. This is where you'll open and close positions. We'll spend most of our time on the futures page right over there. And then in the middle right is our order book. That's our live buy and sell orders. For futures, this also matters for a funding rate skew, but for beginners, just glance and ignore it. We don't really need to go into it too much, but just be aware that it's there, and then we can move on. Okay, before we open anything, so before we open a trade, we need to pick our margin mode. So in the trading panel on the far right, that's all the way on this side, you'll see a button that says, mine currently says isolated, but I think yours, if you're a first timer, is going to say cross. So just click on that. And then we've got 3 options here. Listen carefully because this decides what happens when things go wrong, okay? So cross margin mode is the first one on the left. Every position you have under this asset shares one single margin balance. If one trade tanks, the system will pull from your other position's margin to prevent liquidation. I know it sounds nice, but if everything crashes at once, you can lose your entire futures wallet and not just one position. So it's not really vibing my energy right now. Then we have isolated margin mode. You assign a fixed amount of margin to each position. So if the trade goes against you, you only lose that allocated margin and the rest of your wallet is safe. This one is really recommended for beginners. I do like that one very much. And then for split margin mode, which is the one on the right, is similar to isolated, but you transfer a specific amount upfront. If the margin drops to less than or equal to 100%, you get liquidated and the trader can lose all the margin in that sub account, okay? That one isn't as bad as cross, but still I do have a preference between split and isolated. So once you've decided, click confirm. My honest recommendation isn't always going to be for your first month and until you're fully comfortable and aware of what you're doing is going to be isolated margin mode. Don't let one bad trade wipe out everything that you have earned. So just keep that in mind, okay? All right, so once we have clicked isolated, click confirm or whichever one that you decide works best for you. Next is going to be leverage. So click on the button that's next to your margin mode. Mine currently says 30 times. So I'm going to click that up there. And this pop-up opens up. So the big count at the top, you can use the plus and minus to fine-tune your number, or you can drag the slider all the way from 1 times to 150 times. Just read the warning carefully. Selecting a high leverage will increase the risk of forced liquidation. So at 150 times, it's a 0.66% move against you can wipe you out. At 10 times, it takes about a 9% move. At 3 times, you can survive a 30% crash. Higher leverage isn't bigger profits. It's smaller margin for the same position size, which means tighter liquidation distance, okay? You can then click confirm once you've chosen. My recommendation is for beginners to start anywhere between 3 and 5 times. You want to learn the platform and not risk it all in one day, and then you can always increase it later. Personally, for this demo, I'm going to stick to 30 just because I like a nice big even number. But yes, 3 to 5 is the recommended for beginners. Now we can set up the actual order. So we're currently going to use limit because similar to what I'd said in yesterday about my spot tutorial is that this lets you pick the exact buy price instead of taking the market price. So you see the difference would be if I went market, the price would be the set market price that it is right now, whereas limit, I get to set it myself. Okay, so Bitcoin is around 64,000. It's moving up. At least I'm hoping it's going to move up. So I'm going to bid just a little dip from the current, which is a solid 64,000 is what I'm willing to buy it at. So if Bitcoin drops to 64,000, My order fills. If it doesn't, nothing happens, and I can cancel at any time. All right, then right below it, this toggle cont versus USDT is really important. Cont means how many contracts. So each Bitcoin contract on SuperEx is equal to a specific Bitcoin quantity, whereas USDT means how much USDT you want to commit. I do recommend that beginners go with USDT because it's the dollar amount that we understand. We don't have to overthink it. It's quite straightforward. And then right below that is amount you want to commit to it. I want to commit, just for this demo, I don't have 50 USDT in my account. I have 15. I would like to try to commit 50, and then we can go from there. And then once you click that, you can see down below our margin says margin is 1.66 USDT. So that's only $3 and change locked up as collateral because at 30 times leverage, 50 USDT of exposure only requires 50 divided by 30, which is around 1.66 USDT of margin. That's pretty much the leverage magic. Small margin, big position, big risk too. Okay, now the most important part for a future trade is our stop loss and take profit. There's only one thing you can take away from today's video is this. Never enter a futures trade without these two numbers set, okay? Don't go click that big green button straight away. Click this little checkbox right above the green button, and then you can fill them in. Okay, so for my take profit, so my buy price is 64,000. Let's put, I do believe Bitcoin is going to go up, but I think it's going to go up at a slow rate. So maybe I'm going to go 66,000 USDT for my take profit. And then my SL trigger, I am going to put you at 62,000. I'm keeping it quite tight because I don't want to risk it too much. Like I said, for the first time, you want to make sure you're really comfortable with what decision you're getting into. So my take profit is at 66,000. So that means I'm buying at, what am I buying at? I'm buying at 64,000, right? If Bitcoin bumps up to 66,000, it sells automatically and locks in my gains. I don't need to stare at the chart. The platform does it for me. And then stop loss, similar but in the opposite direction. If Bitcoin crashes to 62,000, it's going to sell immediately and I cap my loss. This is the line between losing some margin and getting completely liquidated, okay? Only after both those two numbers are set can we move on to down below. So you click either the green button, which is open long, you're betting that Bitcoin's going to go up, or you click open short and you bet that Bitcoin's going to go down. I believe Bitcoin is going to go up, so I would have gone open long. So once you click open long or open short, your order goes live, and there's two places you can check that out. So number one is the open orders tab at the bottom of the screen. If it's a limit order that hasn't been filled yet, it sits there. You can cancel at any time. Then our positions tab, once the order fills, so if Bitcoin touches my bid of 64,000 USDT, the trade moves from open orders to positions. You'll see your entry price, your current P&L in USDT, liquidation price, and a close button. So to close early, you just hit the close button. You could do a flash close, which is the market price instant, or a limit close, which is our chosen exit price. Once closed, your margin is returned to your futures wallet, plus or minus your P&L minus fees. So if your TP or SL triggers automatically, the position closes itself, and you can see it in our order history right there. So yeah, that's a pretty straightforward experience if you're doing futures. Let's quickly go over those steps. You first initially pick your margin mode. I chose isolated because that's great for beginners. You pick your leverage, start anywhere between 3 and 5 times. I went 30 times today. Step 3 is you set your price, choose the USDT amount instead of cont. You can wrap your head around it easier. Step 4, always set your TP and SL. Once those are set, you can choose open long or short based on your view. Then step 6 is manage the position from your positions tab. Honestly, futures is really straightforward once you've done it once or twice. It just takes a few minutes and you're good to go. So that is our little intro for our perpetual futures trade. But if you guys want to check out our copy trading, I will show you how to do that. So this is the SuperEx copy trading hub. There's only 4 things you really need to know. The top section is our dashboard, this one right here. So right now my net investment and P&L are all 0 because I haven't started. Remember, I've not gone into copy trading yet. I would like to, but I just have not had the oofta to do it yet. Once you start copying, this is where you'll see your real-time profit and loss across all the traders that you follow, okay? And then we have this yellow strip here. SuperEx also lets you flip the table, become a lead trader yourself. You'll earn up to 10% off every dollar your copiers make. We're not going to do that today, but just file that away for future knowledge if you think you're doing well, and maybe some people might want to follow your trades. And then down here, we have the Trading Plaza. This is the marketplace of every public lead trader on SuperEx. The buttons across the top let you sort by copy trader, P&L, our P&L percentage, total P&L, AUM, that's assets under management, number of copy traders, or max drawdown. You can also flip the time frame to 30 days, 7 days, whatever you would like. And then right here, if you already know a trader by name or UID, you can just search them right in here. So just scroll down and you can see the goods. Every lead trader has a card like this. Each card shows you the trader's profile picture, nickname, how many copy slots they have, free. So 1 out of 200 would mean it's nearly empty. They have room for you. Their headline P&L percentage in green or red, and a mini P&L chart. And this here is the credentials, and quite the critical bit that you really want to pay attention to. So it has the 30-day P&L, 30-day copy traders P&L. This is how much money their copiers actually made. AUM and all the important max drawdown. Drawdown tells you the biggest drop from peak to throw, and a trader can have a 200 plus P&L, but their drawdown is like 70%. It would mean it almost blew up at some point. So always check that drawdown, okay? And then that yellow copy trading here, that's the button of each person's card. It's a one-click follow. I want to show you the smarter way first. So click the trader's name and we can then open up the details. All right, who do we want to click into today? All right, I'm gonna go one hand today. Okay, so I clicked into one hand and now you can see everything. The top right is the big yellow copy now button. We'll get to that in a second. So these 5 numbers tell you who you're dealing with. Days trading is 42 days. That's not too bad, but I would prefer someone a little bit longer. Copy traders, they have 0 out of 200, so basically empty, plenty of room. 0 copy traders, so no one's really copied them. We have closed portfolios, 22 closed portfolios. They've shut down strategy mid-flight. Profit sharing ratio is 10%. If you make money, they take 10% of that fee. That's pretty normal. Then the performance metrics, the P&L percentage. So we're at positive 2.23%. Max drawdown is 1.08%. I'm not 100% sold on this person. Remember, we're just showing you an example of someone. No offense, I'm going to be putting one hand down a little bit just because I would not trade with them, but that's just my personal opinion. Everyone gets to choose for themselves. The net investment that they have put through is 100. Margin balance is 102. And then our unrealized P&L is 0.1 negative. Okay, so they're not doing the best. Let's be for real. And then on the right-hand side here, they have their P&L percentage. That's their chart for the last 30 days. generally would like to see an upward trend that doesn't have wild zigzags. Smooth up is the dream. This person does not have it, so no offense, I would not be following them. Also, the main info you have are the tabs, the current position here, the position history. So current position is what they're holding right now. Position history is their past closed trades. And then we also have our transfer history and our copy user who's copying them. You can spend 2 minutes like checking all this information out before you decide who you want to copy. And then you can click copy now. And then once we go to copy now, this new page is brought up. So at the top here, it says, this is pretty much the one-click copy trading setup. All right, let me just get myself comfortable for this. The first thing I want you to look at is the copy trading amount, okay? So the minimum amount is 10 USDT. The maximum is 200. So my futures wallet has 15, as it says up here. So I probably initially would just put in 10, which is the minimum, because I would not be able to go for 15 because I do not want to max out myself. I'm very big on not doing everything all in, and start small and grow from there. Okay, now read this description box carefully. The 3 rules. First, open positions proportionally. If the lead trader uses 10% of their balance on a Bitcoin long, you can use 10% of yours. Second, margin mode will be the same as the lead traders. So if they use cross, you use cross. You can't choose something else. Third, your leverage will match the lead trader's leverage. You don't get to override these. You literally are riding shotgun, okay? So there's an advantage to this that you don't have to think about it too much. Yay. But then the disadvantage is that you don't get to have your little tweak settings. But you do have one safety belt, and that is advanced settings. I always recommend clicking this open. So have a look. Once you open advanced settings, you've got a couple extra numbers that we can fill in. And I would always, always recommend and urge you guys to do this if you are doing a copy trade, okay? So the first one is our positions take profit. So I'm setting 50% P&L, meaning that if my copy trade amount hits 50% gain on any single position, SuperEx auto closes it and locks in my wins. I don't get greedy, I take the money. We like that, okay? Number 2. Our position stop loss. I'm going to set that at, let's go 30%. So 30% P&L. So if any position is down 30%, the platform cuts it. No matter what the lead trader does, you bail. This is your circuit breaker. Without it, a bad trade can blow up your whole account, okay? So please go into it with a mindset that you still need to set your take profit and stop loss, okay? Similar to our spot trading and our futures, you always want to set these. Even though you're copying someone else, you want to go into it with a mindset that you need a little bit of control. Then number 3 is your max margin per order. For the sake of this, I'm just going to put, actually, I'm going to change that to 15 just so I can show you guys something. There we go. All right, so I changed my amount that I was willing to commit to 15, and then single order margin cap, I then put in as 10. So this caps how much margin gets used on any single trade. So even if the lead trader goes nuts and puts 80% of their balance in on one trade, your copy amount will only commit 10 USD to it. It's critical risk control, okay? So you want to make sure that you're going into this with these items all filled out, okay? Once you've done that, you need to confirm the profit sharing is 10%. That's mandatory pretty much. It's like you need to go into this understanding that if you are copying this person's transaction, they do get 10% of your gain. We love that for them. They're doing the work. We're just copying them. And then I have read, so make sure that you have some time, take some time to read the copy trading service agreement if you're not 100% aware of what you're getting yourself into. But yeah, and then you just click copy trading and you are good to go. Honestly, guys, it's pretty straightforward once you've done it once. I have yet to do it mainly because I've not found someone I want to copy. Like, I look at this and I'm like, no, no, no. That's the genuine reason is why I haven't gone into myself, is that I've not found that perfect person to bet my nuggets on. So maybe down the line, I do check it weekly to see if there's someone who I would like to copy. But at the time being, I don't like what I see. And if I don't like what I see, I'm not going to commit my order and stress myself out. Okay, that's all for today. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. Today we went over our perpetual futures. So let me quickly show you the page that we went over. So yesterday we did spot trading. We didn't touch upon spot today. We did our futures. So this was our perpetual futures trade. And then we went and did a quick recap of what copy trading is and how to look and understand all the information that we are given. All right, sweet. Guys, I'll be back next week for another 2 streams. Thank you so much for tuning in. I